Hello everyone, welcome to our video about the production of speech sound in English phonetics and phonology. Today, we're going to explain how human speech is produced or made, from the air in our lungs to the movement of our tongue, lips, and other organs. And these are our main topics. What is speech production? Airstream mechanism, speech organs, and the process of speech production. Let's start with the most basic idea. What is speech production? So, speech production simply means how we create sounds when we talk. Every sound we make is basically moving air that gets shaped by different parts of our mouth and throat. Number 2 is airstream mechanism. Before any sounds happen, we need air. The question is, where does that air come from? In almost all human language, including English, the air comes from the lungs. This is called the aggressive pulmonic airstream mechanism. Let me break it down. Aggressive means the air is going out of the body. Pulmonic means the air comes from the lungs. Airstream means the moving air used to create speech. So basically, when we speak, we push air upward from our lungs, through the trachea, to the throat, then out through the mouth or nose. Some language use other type of airstream, like inhaling air or ingressive sounds, but English doesn't use those. Number 3, introduction to speech organs. To shape this air into actual sound, we use many speech organs. Speech organs are the part of our body that help us to produce sounds when we speak. These organs work together to control the air from our lungs and shape it into a different sound. The main speech organs are the lungs, vocal cords, tongue, teeth, lips, and mouth cavity. Each organ has a different function, such as making force, changing sound shape, or stopping the airflow to create certain consonants.
When we speak, we don't usually think about what's happening inside our mouth. But in reality, speech is created through a coordinated movement of many parts in our mouth and throat. These parts are called articulators. An articulator works by moving towards or touching another articulator to create different speech sounds. We divide articulators into two groups, active and passive. Active articulators are the parts that move. They are responsible for shaping the sounds by changing their position. These include the lower lip, the tongue, including tip, blade, front, back, and sometimes center, the tongue root, the epiglottis, the volume or soft palate, and the larynx. Each of these active parts helps create different sounds by moving closer to certain fixed places in the mouth. Next is passive articulators. Passive articulators are the parts that stay still. Active articulators move towards these fixed points to form specific sounds. These include the upper lip, the teeth, the alveolar ridge, or the bumpy ridge behind the upper front teeth, the hard palate, the uvula, and the parting wall at the back of the throat. Together, the active and passive articulators form a system that allows us to produce hundreds of different speech sounds across languages.
Have you ever wondered how we turn thoughts into words? How does air from our lungs become the sound that let us communicate? It's like magic, but it's actually science. Let's explore this amazing process, starting with how it all begins. Making speech sounds is like following a recipe with 4 steps. The first one is initiation. It is where the air starts its journey. Second one is phonation. It is where the air gets its voice. The third one is oronasal process. It is where the air decides to go through the mouth or nose. The fourth one is articulation. It is where our tongue, lips, and teeth shape the final sound. All of this happen in a split second every time we speak. Now let's focus on step 1, the initiation process. This is where the power of speech comes from, our lungs. Think of your lungs as 2 soft air pumps. They don't work alone. They team up with your diaphragm, the dome-shaped muscle below your lungs, and the muscles between your ribs. When you breathe in, your diaphragm pulls down and your ribcage expands, filling your lungs with air. When you speak, you mostly breathe out. Your diaphragm relaxes outward, and the muscles gently press the air out in a controlled stream. This outgoing airflow has a technical name, the aggressive pulmonic airstream. Pulmonic means from the lungs and aggressive means flowing outward, so it simply means air pushed out from the lungs. This is the foundation for almost every sound in languages like English and Indonesian. The air travels from your lungs up through your windpipe or trachea, which acts like a highway straight to your voice box. And here's a fun fact. While we speak on the exhale, it is possible to make sounds like breathing in. These are called ingressive sounds. The word ingressive simply means flowing inward. It's like speech in reverse. Instead of pushing air out, you are drawing air in to create sound. A common example is a gasped yes in surprise, or the sound you might make when imitating a sharp intake of breath. But for regular conversation, we mostly use the outgoing aggressive air. So every word starts with this journey. Air leaves your lungs, travel up your windpipe, and gets ready to become sound. Without this airflow, there would be no speech.
Okay, so the next one is phonation process. Phonation happens at the larynx, where air from the lungs flows up through the trachea or windpipe into the larynx. Inside, the vocal folds or vocal cords sit horizontally across the glottis, the gap through which air passes. Here, vibration creates voice sounds key to phonemes, studied in phonetics as body action and in phonology for contrast like to for voiced versus to for voiceless. Phonation takes place at the glottis between the vocal folds. The folds close together or adduct, building subglottal pressure from lung air until it forces them into repeating open-close cycles, producing steady sound waves. Vibration speed, set by full tension, and length from laryngeal muscles gives fundamental frequency for pitch. Three main glottis states control this: open for no vibration, narrow for vibration, and closed for stops. With open glottis, air rushes out fast without vibration, making voiceless sounds like th in sick, feel no buzz at your larynx. Narrow glottis brings folds close so air causes vibration for voice sounds like the in there, where you feel the buzz. Fully closed glottis blocks air, creating glottal stops like replacing t in but in some English accents. Phonetics describes types like modal or regular vibration, ready with loose with air noise, or pressed with tight closure, using tools like laryngoscopy or spectrograms. Phonology treats it as voiced or voiceless for word pairs like b, p, plus prosody for stress or tone. Phonation links larynx physiology to language sound systems.
What is the oronasal process? Oronasal process describes how the air moves during speech. It can go into the mouth, oral sounds, or into the nose, nasal sounds. Sometimes it even moves through both at the same time, which is called oronasal. This process is controlled by the volume, also known as the soft palate, which acts like a gate for airflow. So, what is the role of the volume? The volume is a flap of muscle and tissue located at the back of the roof of the mouth. When the volume is raised, it closes the nasal passage, so air can only escape through the mouth. When the volume is lowered, air can flow freely through the nose. So, the position of the volume controls whether the sound we make is oral or nasal.
First is oral sounds. When a phlegm is raised, it blocks the nasal passage, allowing air to move through the oral cavity or the mouth. This creates oral sounds, like the first sounds in put or the middle and last sounds in ma. Second is nasal sounds. When the phlegm is lowered, the air can escape through the nose, creating nasal sounds. In English, these include the first sound in mak, which is a nasal sound, the middle sound in n, and the last sound in sing. These sounds are created because the air moves up into the nasal cavity as the phlegm opens. The last one is oronasal sound. Sometimes airflow is split between the mouth and the nose at the same time. This happens when a vowel is placed before a nasal consonant. For example, in man, the vowel A becomes slightly nasalized because of the nasal consonant N. This is an example of oronasal sounds where the air escapes both through the mouth and the nose.
Next is the articulation process. Articulation process is how we shape different speech sounds in a language. Most of this happens inside the mouth. We can change the shape and size of the mouth because our tongue and lips can move in many ways. We can go forward, backward, up, down, or change their tightness. Every time we change the shape of our mouth, the sounds that comes out also changes. These changes create the differences between speech sounds. This is why one sound is made at the front of the mouth, another in the back, and why some sounds are blocked, narrowed, or made with airflow. In conclusion, producing speech sounds is a complex but well-organized process that happens in just a fraction of a second. It begins with the air from our lungs, which become voice or voiceless through the phonation in the larynx. Then, the violin decides whether the air flows through the mouth or the nose. And finally, our articulators, like the tongue, lips, and teeth, shape the air into the specific sounds we use in English. All this system works together perfectly, allowing us to transform simple airflow into meaningful communication. Understanding this process helps us appreciate how detailed and coordinated human speech really is.